So Lou, it's good to finally catch up with you. It's been almost a year, man. It looks like your big rig is different. Looks like you made it a little bit bigger. I definitely want to do another video to see the difference. Right now we're shooting one on heaters as the temperature is starting to drop. Folks are thinking about how to stay warm, and so could you share with us how you do it?
Come in. So, I used to have the wood stove.
Yeah, I remember that was cool.
The little boat stove, which is wonderful. But the plan is to stay where the weather is not that cold. So I decided to, as much as I hated to, take it out and build cabinets in its spot. I use those more than the wood stove. But, well, anyway, I'll also do this. I just use the Olympian Wave 3. And I have it plugged to a 10-foot hose that runs directly out there to a T to my main line from my inside stove, my propane line. And I have a quick disconnect, just like an air fitting, except they cost 50 bucks. From made specifically for these propane lines for barbecues or whatever. I think these are about 200 bucks new, and then a few miscellaneous. But comes with a stand, or you can mount it on something. A quick disconnect back here.
How is it different than a Mr. Buddy?
Well, I've used them both. I've had quite a few of these over the years. I think it's more efficient on propane. This is designed specifically to run off of a large tank. Mr. Buddy, you can convert, and do it that way to be economical, but this comes ready to go. And there's no doubt that it produces less condensation than propane, any propane stove I've ever used. That's kind of one of the drawbacks to its wet heat. Hasn't been a problem. Occasionally, I've gotten a little condensation on the inside of the windows if it's been raining out or if it's extremely cold out and then hot as hell in here. But these are double pane windows too, so I don't get it as bad. But nothing to worry about. You don't have rainwater dripping off the roof like you're taking a shower. And this is the smallest size. They have three. They have the Wave 6 and Wave 8. This is 1,500 BTUs on low and 3,000 on high. And in a small area like this. Now with my new remodel, I've added a little bit. So I'm 108 square feet of interior space, not too high.
Well, I think it's interesting that you note the BTUs. I don't think Mr. Buddy makes a heater that is less than 3,800 BTUs.
I'm not sure.
On the lowest setting.
Yeah.
It doesn't, there's no 1,800 BTU setting on a Mr. Buddy heater that I'm aware of, even small ones.
Yeah, I can't remember what mine was either, but it is a lot hotter right off the get-go, which isn't a big deal. But I hardly ever take this off to 1,500. The control here, that's the first notch right there. And then push it in and go down to 3,000 to the next. That's just basically high and low. And then off. That's a PZO starter. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, the 1,500 heats this thing almost always. When I get down into the 30s or below freezing, I've kicked it up to the higher setting. But I just let it go, and this place it's really well insulated too. The walls, not only just the insulated windows, and it's just fine. I never run it at night. You probably could, and I know people that have. Actually, I take that back. I have done it a couple times when I was sick last year, And I always crack a little window. I have an opening vent in my shower stall there, and I always leave that open, almost always anyway, just a little bit. But when I let that run, I had my little front window cracked. And in the back, because I thought I was dying from the flu, so I wanted to be warm. But I know people that do it all the time too. Run it. It's not the greatest idea because of you just need oxygen coming in here to deplete the thing.
Well, cool.
So that's it. This just folds back there, and it's just And it would probably be just fine. I found it difficult to find a good place to put this in here permanently before I did the extra little room. So now I'm glad I did it this way, because I could take it out there if I wanted. But it sits right there 99% of the time when I'm using it, and then has a home right there.
Well, I really like your rig. It's so well thought out. Every space is spoken for, and even right down to the heater having the lower temperature and the dry heat. Thanks a lot for showing us.
You betcha, anytime.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about how I love this heater because it's the perfect size for a van, and it's small, it's fuel efficient, but its main problem is how are you going to connect it to a bulk bottle? Well, here is a really super Mickey Mouse way to hook it to a bulk bottle, but I think it'll work. I just drilled a hole. It's a 5-gallon bucket. I drilled a hole at the bottom. The bulk bottle, the hose goes out and will go to your bulk bottle. Your bulk bottle could even be outside if you feel safer with that. And then this has what's called a gamma lid on it. I'll show you how that works in a minute. And I just drilled holes around it strategically so that the bungee cords can hold on to it. And yet, you know, it kind of wants to stay on here. And it also has the advantage that now you've got a bucket, and buckets are good things to have, even with holes in them. I rarely put water in a bucket. So I'm using the bucket for storage, and you want as heavy a thing in here as you can so it won't be tippy. And so you put the heavyweight items in it, and then actually you can fit, if you own a 1-gallon propane bottle, a 1-gallon propane bottle will fit right inside here, and it will be very heavy, and then you have one secure unit. You could even then take this outside on a cold night when you're out sitting around with other people and aim it at yourself and outside. And so this is actually a pretty handy thing. And so I just Mickey Moused up a bunch of bungee cords to hold it in one place, and they're in tension against each other. And so, one more hold me on here. And now I'll show you what a gamma lid is. The gamma lid is pounds on. I don't know if you can see that. You just turn it. It's threaded. It's a threaded lid. And so you can see I just drilled a hole through the gamma lid. The gamma lid is threaded, and this is pounded on, and then this will never come off. They're really on tight once they're on. The gamma lid actually has a watertight seal, so if I wanted to keep water in here, I could. Now I drilled a bunch of holes in it, so that's not going to happen. But now, and I've got a couple of bottles in here, some weight, and a few other things. And so I'm using this as storage. I'm using it to hold my heater, and I can move this around. I feel very secure about it. And of course I've got, you never use a Mr. Buddy heater without a fuel filter. That's just, it's $10, it's good insurance, and I would never ever use a Mr. Buddy heater without it.